Hey guys, welcome to the Weight Loss by Pete podcast and daily vlog simulcast here on YouTube. This is Pete Weintraub, permanent weight loss specialist, and today we're going to go over why you shouldn't try and lose weight too fast. And my motivation for this came from an email I received. So one of the things that I do to try and give back a little is there's a site called Quora.com. I think it's absolutely free, and basically you can go in as either a questioner or you can be an expert in a field and answer questions. So I'm one of the higher ranking experts in health and weight loss. And so I get quite a few questions on a daily basis. And somebody who I recognize from having asked me questions in the past sent me a private email, because in every question that I answer, I always leave my email address saying, hey, if you have any other questions on this topic or anything health, fitness, nutrition, weight loss related, please feel free to reach out to me privately. So I got this email yesterday. So if you're watching, I'm just pulling it up here. If you're not watching, no worries. I'm about to read it to you. So the question was, I blocked out this person's name, so give them some privacy. Can I lose 10 kilograms in 2 months? I want to lose my weight fast. Honestly, who doesn't want to lose weight fast? When you get to that point where you've gained a lot of weight and you're starting to really feel it, you feel unhealthy, you feel out of shape, you feel like, disgusted looking in the mirror, your self-confidence is going down, maybe your romantic life is going down, and you need to make a change. Obviously, it's just human nature. You want to undo whatever bad has happened as quickly as possible. And now in some cases you can, when it comes to making money, you can maybe get another job fairly quickly. You can come up with an idea and sell something on the side. I know, like, my girlfriend, a lot of females I know, clients of mine as well, they use a site called Poshmark, and they sell designer clothing and jewelry that they're no longer using on that site, and they can actually still get up to a pretty penny for it. But when it comes to weight loss, it would not behoove you to lose weight too fast. And the reason being, and the example that I always give, is The Biggest Loser. So have you seen The Biggest Loser on TV? I'm sure you have. It's multinational. It's not just here in America. It's in Europe. It's in Australia. They have a lot of different iterations of the show. But the main premise is that you get these morbidly obese people who have at least 100 pounds to lose. Usually it's 200 or more. And the premise of the show is every week they get on the scale. That's the only measurement. They get on the scale and they measure one of two things. They either measure their actual weight lost over the past week or their percentage of body mass lost over the last week. So they'll change it up sometimes like that, but it's always done on a weekly basis. It's always one of those two arbitrary things. And if you're not up to par, meaning if you haven't been among the top 5, 10, however many people are still on the show at the time, who have lost the most weight or lost the most percentage of their body fat, you're out. And what they put them through, and a lot of articles that come out about this, it's fairly known to the public, and it's pretty terrible, is they're put on these starvation diets. We're talking 800 calories a day. I'm not a calorie counter, but that's not enough. They say that the bare minimum that any human being should be eating on a daily basis is 1,200. Doesn't matter when your age, your gender, your height, your weight, it doesn't matter. 1,200 should be the bare minimum. They're on 800 calorie diets, and they're exercising for 6 to 8 hours a day, often when they haven't exercised in years. So this is obviously not something that's helpful. That's why if you ever watch the show in length, like I used to, 4, 5, 6 years ago, then you'd see some of them sometimes get carted off during these fitness challenges that they had, just during workouts in general, when these crazed personal trainers that they brought on are just busting these people, telling them to do burpees and all these crazy things that people who are 200 pounds overweight have no business doing. So clearly not good. But the reason I brought up The Biggest Loser on top of that was because, well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, an NIH, National Institute of Health study came out, basically following 14 former Biggest Loser contestants, and the findings were terrible. Of the 14, 12 gained all the weight that they had lost on the show back inside of 2 years. One of them had gained some, but not all of that weight back. And then 1 out of the 14 people actually managed to keep the weight off. That's not a good percentage, and there's a lot of horror stories. And again, not just about the conditions that the contestants were put through while they were on this show, but also just the insane amount of weight gain when they went, because that amount of exercise is not healthy and it's not sustainable. And obviously, you should not be eating that little. Now, a lot of recent articles have come out on a study that kind of debunked the starvation method theory and the starvation mode, theory. Basically, what happens is if you eat too calorically restrictive a diet for too long, your body goes into a starvation mode where everything you eat, good, bad, or indifferent, is stored as fat. I know what the findings say, but as someone who's lost 100 pounds and as someone who's been through a nearly 3-year plateau on my journey, let me just tell you about it really quickly. In the first 4 months, I lost 40 pounds. I gained 70 pounds my sophomore year of college. So when I decided to make a change, I went to conventional wisdom. At that time, I had no personal training certifications. I had no nutrition certifications. I didn't really know much about either. And I just did eat less, exercise more, what we're taught in school since we were kids. And through that, again, I lost 40 out of the 70 pounds. Unfortunately, after that, I plateaued for 3 years. So through the rest of college and into nearly my second year in the workforce, I stayed exactly the same weight. My body composition didn't change. No matter what I did, nothing changed. And through that time, I just thought restrict in terms of my food intake and extend the amount of time and energy that I spent in the gym. And all that resulted in was an irritable, hungry me that again, and frustrated because I didn't see the results that I was looking for. So towards the end of that journey, I decided to switch my mentality because my buddy turned me on to CrossFit. And CrossFitters follow one of two different dietary methodologies. There's the paleo diet, which focuses more so on food quality than food quantity. And then there's the zone diet, which focuses on both. So I was tired of counting calories and watching my portions. So I decided, let's look at food quantity and let's see if anything changes. And sure enough, it did. I started to lose weight again. And then through that, it was almost like the floodgates opened and this whole new myriad of knowledge that I did not know about, that I wouldn't have even known to look for, came to me. I found out about other diets, high-fat, low-carb diets, the ketogenic diet. I followed that for 6 months. I got into the best shape of my life. And during that time, too, I was drawn to the fact that I had a dairy allergy. And at the time, I was drinking a lot of milk. I was eating a lot of cheese. I was using protein shakes after workouts. And once I cut that out, I lost another 30 pounds on top of the additional 30 pounds I needed to lose that I'd gained in college. So I lost exactly 100 pounds. So that starvation mode theory, or that has been debunked, I don't believe it. I lived through it. And I tried to right the ship by restricting more in terms of food intake and extending more in the gym. And that didn't work. So again, when I found out about those things, and I've since also introduced intermittent fasting, and the results are absolutely phenomenal. It just shows you that we're kind of taught to look through one lens when there's really multiple lenses as part of the equation and as part of the solution. So getting back, if you lose weight too fast and you look at the show and you followed that show, what happens to them? At the end, if they make it for one of the finalists, then they have to go to a doctor to get skin removal surgery, because when you lose a lot of weight, and like they do, really, really fast, your body can't keep up. If you lose weight the right way and you go about it by making gradual dietary changes, by exercising, diversifying your exercise, and doing more and more and more and pushing yourself little by little, and you improve your sleep cycles, and that way you can regulate your hormone levels better, guess what? Your body will slowly change over time. You'll not only lose the weight, you'll lose inches. Places where there was fat will turn into places that have muscle. Your skin will tighten instead of just staying out like a balloon and sagging. It'll tighten. And as a result, you won't have the extra skin. The stretch marks will be minimal. And yes, does it take longer? Sure. Can it feel like a slog sometimes? Maybe. But if you're seeing consistent results, let's say you lost just a pound a week and then you lost half an inch a week, and that compounds over time. You see gradual progress, you see changes in the mirror, and more importantly, you feel the changes. If you had brain fog, you have more clarity. If you had trouble regulating your moods, you're able to better regulate them. If you had energy spikes and drops, you have more steady levels of energy because you're eating right, you're exercising regularly, you're not going nuts about worrying about the quantity of time spent in the gym or the quantity of food that you're eating or not eating on a daily basis, and you're focusing on getting high quality sleep inside of a couple of different windows. So it really helps to lose weight at a gradual pace. Take those contestants on The Biggest Loser, and you may even know someone who's lost over 100 pounds and has since gained it all back. They've had gastric bypass surgery, they lost a ton of weight, and then just a few years later, they've gained it all back. It's because that procedure is not fixing the issue. The issue isn't the food intake in terms of the quantity of food you're ingesting. It all comes down to your body's insulin response to the different foods you're eating. If you're getting huge spikes from carbohydrate and drops, then guess what? You're going to become insulin resistant, which can make you type 2 diabetic, which is a gateway disease to a myriad of even more deadly, potentially, health conditions. It can also make you obese because when you have the blood sugar spike from high sugar, high starch, high refined carbohydrate ingestion, what's happening is that your body is taking all of the carbohydrate it needs at that time to the applicable cells, muscles, and tissues to continue to have you functioning optimally, but the rest is being stored as fat. And like with the compound effect of just doing it the right way, gradually losing a pound a week, a half an inch a week, something like that. And instead, you're adding on a little more fat every day, a little more fat every day, and a little more fat every day. Guess what? Compound effect happens. It may not be in a short period of time, like when I gained 70 pounds inside of 3 months, but it could happen over a decade, it could happen over 2 decades. And then 2 decades worth of bad habits is very hard to do. It's certainly not impossible. I've helped many people undo their bad habits on the nutritional, fitness, and sleep ends, but it does take a lot of work, not just physical work. You can't just flip a switch. Most people can't just flip a switch and be perfect in those areas. You're going to slip up. I even slip up from time to time. I'll have nights where I'll stay up too late watching Netflix or playing video games. I'll have days where I should work out and I don't. I'll have days where I should eat healthy, but instead I'll order pizza. It happens, but you minimize those bad instances, you reinforce good habits, you actually take the time, because guess what? According to scientific studies, it takes 66 days to form a habit. That's 2 months, and it's 2 months plus a week and a half. So that's 9.5 weeks of consistent discipline and action being taken towards achieving your goals. And it's, again, like I said, it's not going to come without slip-ups. It's not going to come without making mistakes, but the more consistent you are with healthy eating, regular exercise, and getting consistent quality sleep, you're going to be amazed at how your body and your mind transforms for the better. And then when you do reach your short-term goal, even if it takes 2 or 3 years, let's say you have a lot of weight to lose, even if it takes a long time before you finally get down to the weight and the size and all that you want, then you developed such good, positive, healthy habits that it's so easy to maintain and even potentially improve upon, as opposed to a lot of people go on these crash diets and these crazy workout regimens that are unsustainable, that may get them the short-term result faster, but then they have the extra skin, the stretch marks, the slow metabolism, all the other negative health issues that a lot of these people who yo-yo constantly with their weight have to endure. So guys, I hope you found this helpful. If you like this video, if you like this podcast, please do me a favor and subscribe by clicking the button below, or if you're watching up here. And I thank you for listening. And then one last thing, in the description below, I have a link to my free report. It details the 5 strategies that I personally used to lose 100 pounds and keep them off. So if you're interested in losing weight for good and you're tired of all the BS with these crash diets, crazy workout regimens, and bullshit supplements, then you're definitely going to read the report, and I promise you it's free. By implementing just one of those things, which all 5 of them you can do starting today without paying a penny, guess what? You're going to start seeing the changes very, very shortly, and you're going to be very happy that you did. So again, I'm Pete Weintraub, permanent weight loss specialist. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Have a great weekend, and I'll be coming back at you on Monday. Have a good one.